It's opening day of the Fall Championship meet at Belmont Park. 36 exciting programs, 44 stakes races worth more than $10.2 million. Today's feature is the Christie Cat at 6 furlongs over the inner turf for 3-year-old fillies, and it will be a family affair for the connections of Ms. Mayhem, who has calmly and convincingly won 5 in a row. Her biggest threat might be right next door with Broadway Run. The most lightly raced individuals won 2 of 3, and in the process defeated 5 of today's rivals. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Belmont Park Live, presented by Claiborne Farm. Doing the usual, unusually well for 100 years. And here it is, Big Sandy, after a 3-day exhale from the terrific meet at Saratoga, where we had the second highest handle in its history. We're back here at Belmont Park. I'm Frank Miramati, filling in for Greg Wolf, who is in Los Angeles right now covering college football for Fox Sports 1. It's a pleasure to be joined by my good friend Paul LaDuca, of course, former New York Met and Los Angeles Dodger catcher, and Naira's handicapper, Andy Serling. Guys, good to be with you.
It's good to be with you. And I'll tell you what, man, that was a pretty good open.
Really, I'm just trying to figure out what part the three of us played in the second highest Saratoga handle of all time. I know you did your share, Frank.
Yeah, it was a listen, it was a fun meet. I know you were part of it too, Frank.
I contributed.
Yeah. We got a lot of rain, unfortunate rain. If we didn't, it would have been unbelievable. But it accomplished a lot, and I think the end of that meet with the Travers and the Woodward, there was so much great racing.
Saratoga is a magical place. Every meeting up there is a special meeting, and it's just great to be there and great to see so many fans, but it's nice to get back to New York as well, and there's a lot of great racing coming up in the next 2 months here at Belmont Park.
Our feature today is a very good one. It is the Christie Cat. We talked about it being a family affair for Ms. Mayhem. One of the strongest angles in racing is first-time Jason Service. But in this particular circumstance, it is actually a family affair because Jason Service's sister is Lori Plisa, which makes the trainer, Edward Plisa Jr., his brother-in-law.
I just lost my bet on the over or under on how long it would take before Frank contributed something interesting to the show. I actually didn't know that. That's pretty interesting information. I think that is a good question. Listen, Ms. Mayhem, just on her merits, is the horse to beat in this race. She's got to negotiate the 6 furlong. She's been proficient, particularly at 5, but won at 5.5 with a perfect trip here. But she also beat Factor of 1, who came back and didn't run particularly well in the Coronation Cup, though she did have some trouble. The switch to Jason Service is always a big one, but this one doesn't feel as big. There's a work at Monmouth, but it feels like he could have had this horse for a week.
Yeah, which is true. I mean, it says 37%. I think you throw all that out, just like Frank was saying. This is a family affair. This horse has been prepared by Ed Plisa. If you like the filly, I think you still need to like her. And I think the worry was maybe she can't get the 6 furlongs. Maybe she proved everybody wrong because she did get jostled and stumbled a little bit in that last start. It was a bad beginning, and she proved to be best. Now, I get it. This is a big step up, but she's the one to beat.
3 straight stakes races, and we're going to face reality here and welcome the true star of this show right now, Maggie Wolfendale.
Thanks, guys, and we'll check in with the 2 horses that look best in here, and one of them happens to be number 7. That is Satisfy, as she will be searching for her 3rd win in just 4 career starts here for trainer Bill Mott. And each time I see her, she actually looks different. She kind of molds herself into a different-looking animal, and this time around, it looks as though she's put on more muscle mass. So I appreciate that about her, and she is taking a lot of money as of now, as people, I think, just like to see the one. Now, another horse that is going to offer a bit more value that I think looks sensational here is number 5, No Hain, No Gain. Now, the argument could be made that she likes or prefers a sloppy sealed track. Okay, but she's also turning back in distance with a field that is littered with horses that do have some early speed. We'll see how the track plays into her favor or not, but one of the best times by far that I've seen No Hain, No Gain show up here in the paddock. She's had a freshening. She skipped Saratoga. I think that's beneficial here in the face of several others who had to go up there and come back. And I just think No Hain, No Gain might get the right setup here today, guys, as we just got the riders up call.
Horses are in the paddock, and we are about to get into our post parade for this event. Let's take a look at today's action. We've got races 6 through 9, which comprises the late pick 4. And our man Paul LaDuca has put together a ticket to cash in just a moment, but let's talk about the races first. We kick off with this allowance optional claiming event. It's 6.5 furlongs. Half an hour later, an interesting maiden special weight event on the grass, followed by the Christie Cat, and then it's a maiden claimer to close things out at 7/8 of a mile. Our weather and track conditions are presented by Piranha Fly Spray, the preferred fly spray of Belmont Park. Piranha on, pests gone. Paul, how did you put together the late pick for?
Well, you know, listen, it's what you want to do in this race. Satisfy is probably getting overbet in here, but I understand that she's the one to beat. I do think By Self to 2 is better from off the pace. I loved her first race, and I was waiting for her to come out next time out. She won again, but she got an easy lead. She's gotten the easy lead twice. There's other fillies faster than her, so I'm hoping that she can make up some ground. 4, 6, 10 in race 7. The 2 Chad Brown horses. And I'm also going to throw in the 4 in there, Sora from Shadows. I think that horse likes Belmont a little better. 2, 4 in race number 8. Miss Mayhem, I get it. To Sora for Jonathan Thomas. I think's a interesting horse, and she is a girl. But Patty Reynolds, I think, has got a shot. And then 2, 3, 4.
There's no 10 in the last race.
6, 9 in the last. So, yeah, no 10. The 9 in the last. First-time starter for...
Maybe a late entrant you want to throw in. The mystery horse shows up.
Maybe that's my bad. Maybe I accidentally put that in. But yeah, but then 9 last. Monet, no problems. It's going to be the interesting horse in the last, Frank.
All right, let's talk about Naira Bets. You want to play along? We have got an opportunity for you. Bet Belmont Park and 200 other tracks nationwide with a Naira Bets account. It's free to sign up. Enter the promo code Belmont Live for a bet. $200. Get $200. New member bonus. Visit NairaBets.com to get started or download the Naira Bets app to start earning that $200 new member bonus. Bet 200, get 200. NairaBets.com. Post parade starts with number 2 By Self. You touched on her briefly, Paul, and she won her first 2 starts.
Yeah, and she does like Belmont. 2 for 3 over the strip. That's why I included her, and you do get Jose Ortiz aboard.
Jeremiah Engelhart made his presence felt at the Spa. Looks to continue that momentum here with Baby Boss.
She's a filly that's improved throughout her career, but she may get her sternest test here.
Next in the post parade will be number 4, Sandy Bell, who owns a win over this racetrack.
She showed a lot of heart, but she just could not keep up with Lady Bergen last time out. She's going to have to maybe be a little bit sharper second off the layoff today.
Next, No Hain, No Gain for Steve Asmussen and Joel Rosario.
My upset choice, near glad to hear that Maggie liked her in the paddock as well. I think she'll benefit from the freshening a bit, and I thought she ran well enough last time to be a factor here to price.
One of the toughest beats you might have taken at the Spa was that of Lady Bergen, who looked home before getting caught right on the money.
Wow, that's a true story. She looked so home, and she got ripped at the wire. She got beat by a neck. She might be the speed of the speed, but if she doesn't clear, she's very vulnerable.
And the odds-on favorite, understandably so, is number 7, Satisfy.
Understandably by somebody other than myself. I have no idea whether this horse is 4 to 5 for PPs. She can win, but she is way overbet.
She should be the favorite. Would you agree?
No, I'm not sure she'd be favored over Lady Bergen. And I don't trust Lady Bergen off her loss last time, but I'm not sure why Satisfy is such a big favorite here.
I think they're looking at Fair Regis, but here's the thing about Fair Regis. That horse was sort of life and death to win Fair Regis. So I'm in agreement with a little bit with Andy, as in the Satisfy should be maybe co-favorites, a horse to beat, but not 4 to 5.
Yeah, I mean, right now the board is basically saying to us, Lady Bergen, no shot, Satisfy, winner. And I'm not saying Satisfy is not a major player in this race by any stretch of the imagination. She's now 3 to 5. Does she have the look of a 3 to 5? Frank, you like 3 to 5s. Does she have a look of a 3 to 5 on paper?
Well, let's watch Lady Bergen and make that determination. This is her last race, which came off a little bit of a freshening. She looked home Jerome in the final 1/8 of a mile and was caught.
I agree. She had no excuse to lose, but she still ran a race that was every bit as fast as Satisfy's last race, and Satisfy's last race was her best race yet. So from a speed figure standpoint, Lady Bergen has run better races. I think the question with Lady Bergen is, who's going to press her? Is she going to have to get pressed inside by Self? Is Sandy Bell going to go? And we have seen a track that's been kind inside runners, not a huge inside bias, but inside runners. I don't trust Lady Bergen off her last race at all, and I get that Satisfy is an improving, lightly raced horse. I just don't get why you would take odds on her.
Thanks to our team. They've corrected Paul's ticket with that last leg having the 9, not the 10. There is no 10 in the finale. Lady Bergen, by the way, that day was the 7 to 5 favorite.
Yeah.
And There were no tickets with 6 that afternoon, and it was probably because Lady Bergen got caught.
Oh, no
That was a
question.
horrific beat for some people that day.
You don't know anybody that was live in the pick six that would have hit it if that horse had won, do you?
I do not know.
Okay, I'm just checking.
No, it wasn't. That wasn't some inside story for you. Absolutely not.
I know you know people like to bet occasionally.
A couple of dollars here and there, no question about it. They should be doing so at NYRABets.com.
Of course
Let
they
us
should.
look at number 5,
Only.
No Hain, No Gain, in a minute. But this is Satisfy right now that we're looking at. And she is a daughter of Candy Ride, and she won her debut very nicely right here at Belmont Park. And most recently, she ran at the Spa.
I have no major argument against her being a big player here. I think everything comes down to odds, you know, and just why would you want her at 4 to 5?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. They're looking at this win. It's a powerful win. Like I said, Fair Regis is second, comes out of that win to win, but okay win. It was a light win. I think the other part about this is if you look at Lady Bergen, who outran Baby Boss and Sandy Bell last time. They just couldn't keep up with her, and then she got run down. She won the battle, but she didn't win the war. So the 3 and 4 are sort of eliminated. So what happens to Buy, Self, and Satisfy? They get in chase mode probably against Lady Bergen.
Does Lady Bergen outrun the pole, do you think? She fast? She may be faster than him early.
She's going to be faster than she's going to be the horse in front because Baby Boss and Sandy Bell, she's already put them to bed early.
Is the concern that Lady Bergen stopped at 6 last time and they're going 6.5 furlongs today, and if she couldn't get it home at 6 furlongs, 6.5 becomes a chore, and maybe that helps Satisfy and hurts her?
Could. I mean, but it could take the sting out of Satisfy. You never know. The thing about these kind of races, the longer they go, if Lady Bergen's in front, the more steam you're taking out of Satisfy's punch.
We'll see.
That's an interesting question, the question of going a little further. There are times in which a pace setter will, even though you think, wait, they might not be able to get that extra half a furlong, they might be able to do so because they didn't have to set as contested an early pace.
7 furlongs easier to wire than 6 because they let them get away with slower paces. We've passed No Hain, No Gain, my top choice near. I'll tell you one thing. If I'm Rick Violet and there's No Hain, No Gain with By Self, I would maintain the rail. I think No Hain, No Gain is interesting here.
Let's go right now to Maggie to talk about both By Self and Lady Bergen.
Well, guys, at least from my perspective, the reason that we see Satisfy as such a heavy favorite is because I'm not thrilled with the appearances of either By Self or Lady Bergen, and plus By Self is put in the precarious position of being a speed type runner on the rail with plenty of others to her outside. And really, while I like her getting back obviously to the main track and to this distance, I'm just concerned about the way dynamics are playing out, and two, I've seen her look better in the past than what she does here today. Now, truth be told, number 6, Lady Bergen, never been a big fan of her physically. She's just not much to write home about. She's not a big, impressive type, and, you know, I'm just never going to be wooed by her, that's for sure. But we'll see. I mean, she's gotten an okay warm-up. It's not as if they've really gotten her aggressive and blown her out during the preliminaries here. So we'll see who ultimately finds her way to the lead. But pretty much I'm always going to pick against Lady Bergen, though she will beat me time and time again. Frank?
Thank you very much. At least she hasn't beaten you since last November. You can see the selections there on the screen. You're taking a look at the horse Lady Bergen that we've talked about. She's now 3-1. Just took a click from 4 down to 3-1. So the money is starting to show up, Andy.
Yeah, but I'm looking at doubles. And for instance, we saw a 6-5 shot win the last race. The doubles indicating that the 7 Satisfy will be even money or 6-5, while as Lady Bergen will be in the 3-1 or even bigger range. So I don't know how much lower she's going to go.
Here's number 5, No Hain, No Gain. Finished 3rd in her most recent start. Out of that same race, Tis Now Smile came back to beat Lady Bergen. What do you make of her chances?
I think she's got a good shot if the race falls apart. She's the horse that's going to come running here. And you look, she was just behind By Self. So you're getting 7-2 to 7-1. So you're getting way better value on the 5.
And last time out, she made that middle move in the race, and it didn't really work out for her. But I don't think that she's that slow on her best races. And I'm kind of hoping there's enough pace that maybe her sort of middle position helps her out. I don't see anybody as overwhelming this field and don't believe they're supposed to be a heavy 4 to 5 favorite.
All right, we're coming toward the gate here for race number 6. This is the start of the pick 4. And you can see right there, the place to wager is at NYRABets.com. Moving into line for the 6th. Final thoughts, Andy, on By Self. Tried the turf last time out, set the pace to the stretch, and then got tired. But that was a good race in general.
She's not a turf horse, and she's not a mile runner. It was a yielding turf course, so I don't care what she did last time out. She didn't really run that badly, all things considered. I think her prior race is good enough to make her a player in here. I hope that Jose Ortiz does not give up the inside. He may not be the speed of the speed, but use that inside to his advantage because it has been the best place to be.
Baby Boss taking up her spot. Paul, your final thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with Andy on by self. I'm wondering if she can get covered up and pass horses. That's going to be key for her. So someone's going to have to pass somebody, or Lady Bergen could be gone.
She's been bet early and late. Satisfy, the odds-on favorite. Let's send it up to the voice of the New York Racing Association, Larry Colmus, for the call.
Last couple of runners moving into line. Here's Lady Bergen taking her spot in the starting gate, and at odds of 4 to 5, Satisfy, and Junior Alvarado coming up to complete the line here. Satisfy goes in, and they're all in line. They're off. No gain, no gain. A step slow to start. Lady Bergen out quickly for the lead with Baby Boss away running in second. Satisfy is third on the outside. Sandy Bell fourth, and in between horses, 2 lengths off the lead and clear of By Self and No Gain, No Gain. So up the backstretch, it is Lady Bergen and Manny Franco up top here. Moving into the far turn, in front by 3/4 of a length over Satisfy and Baby Boss through a 22.56 opening quarter mile. Sandy Bell is backed off the pace, now 6 lengths behind as By Self passes her from the rail, and No Gain, No Gain goes up 3 wide on the turn. It is Lady Bergen and Satisfy inching up closer now. The two of them are right together on the lead. They're a neck apart. Baby Boss is third. By Self has made progress. She's fourth, and she's continuing to gain very well. She's going to take the outside trip, 2 lengths off the lead after a 45.22 half. They're into the stretch. Lady Bergen and Satisfy. Here's By Self on the far outside, and Baby Boss trying to get in it too. Furlong to run. A drifting out Satisfy, holding on to the lead here. By Self on the outside, yet to get by. Baby Boss third toward the inside. Satisfy and By Self down to the line. It is Satisfy, the winner by a length and a half over By Self. And then it was Baby Boss and Sandy Bell.
Satisfy scores with a dream trip, tracking Lady Bergen, opening up and fending off a good late run from number 2, By Self.
Yeah, sort of just tracked the front runner, like you said, and then put that one away. In deep stretch there, it looked like the 7 sort of lugged out in the 2 position. I don't know if the 2 is ever going to go by, but 4 to 5, the ending price, public knew.
Yeah, I mean, she got the job done. It's not a shock, and she was the best horse in the race. Keep in mind, time's been very quick today, so that 1:15.3, take it with a grain of salt. It was a modest pace. Frankly, the speed in this race, Lady Bergen had absolutely nothing, which basically put Satisfy in the catbird seat, and she was best. Was she a good 4 to 5 shot? I guess she cashed. I still am dubious, but she was best.
7-2-3-4. I like the move that By Self made because it was a little different than her other dirt races, Andy. She kind of loomed into contention. I thought she was a serious threat at the quarter.
I think she ran very well, Frank. It's a good point because she was taken out of her running style. They took her back, and I understand their thinking with that. But not only was she taken out of her running style, she was also making a wide run. Yeah. And you're probably better off saving some ground on this track. So I thought it was a good effort by her. And maybe if she had an outside post, it would have worked out a little differently. I don't know.
There are some circumstances where a horse trying a new surface, such as what By Self did by going to the turf, sometimes when they come back to the surface that they were good at, they don't run as well. That was not the case today. I thought By Self ran very well in defeat.
No, I agree. And Satisfy ran well. Now she's going to have to move up, and we'll see how she does when she faces tougher horses because she doesn't have any New York bred conditions left unless she wants to try Stakes Company, which is going to be a lot tougher.
A formful beginning to the late pick 4. There's a look at your winner, Satisfy. Pulling away, By Self rallying on the outside. As Paul mentioned, there's a little bit of a drift right here, but nothing serious, and Satisfy goes on to take care of her backers. We're going to take a timeout. We'll come back with a recap of race number 6 right after this. You're watching Belmont Park Live.
This 3-time graded stakes winning millionaire defeated 20 Grade 1 winners. In the Dixie Stakes, he defeated Canadian champion and Horse of the Year Up with the Birds and set a new course record at Saratoga. Now the excitement is building as his first foals have arrived this year. Half to 4 graded stakes winners, Ironicus has the speed, class, and bloodlines to become the next great sire by Distorted Humor. Ironicus standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NYRABets.com.
Welcome back to Belmont Park Live. Opening day here of the Fall Championship meet. The great Golden Gate promo on NYRA Bets gives you a 20% winner's bonus on all your Pick 4 bets at Golden Gate Fields Fridays in September. Golden Gate is just getting started, so head to NYRABets.com or simply download the NYRA Bets app to get those Golden Gate Pick 4 bets in.
Golden Gate, a place close to your heart, Frank.
I spent some time there and bowed out to go right into Aqueduct because of New Park Pizza. Right down the street.
A lot of people don't realize
That was it.
That was at Golden Gate, the scenic view that you do get there at Golden Gate.
Great place. Yeah. And let me tell you something else that's great. When you're wagering in New York, you get a 4 to 5 shot. You don't have to worry about 360 when 370 is available for you. That's what you get. With Satisfy, a daughter of Candy Ride out of a distorted humor mare.
Yeah, congratulations to Dreammaker Racing. She's been the favorite the last 3 times. She got the job done today. If you had that double, $5.50, not that much, but if you had it multiple times, hopefully you punched it.
Maggie Wolfendale is catching up with trainer Belmont.
Thanks, Frank, and it's always nice to catch up with Bill Mott. Here is Satisfy. Bill, she looks as though she is certainly a promising New York bred, easily handling this field of 2 other thens.
Yeah, she's been a really nice filly to be around, very consistent, tries hard, got a great disposition. You know, she's really come a long ways from, you know, the time that she came into the stable. I mean, she's really, you know, stepped up her game.
And I think it's always a conundrum with all trainers of New York breds. Where do you go when you graduate from here?
Well, I got to get the book out and have a look. I haven't even looked at the stakes schedule for the New York breds, but she's certainly earned her way into better company right now. She's marched through her New York bred conditions, and we'll just have a look around. You know, she's a very nicely bred filly, so, you know, it'd be, you know, icing on the cake to get a little black type on her.
I'm sure you've gone through the stakes book and looked through some of your big horses, if you will. But Yoshida coming out of the Woodward win, switching effortlessly from turf to dirt, and as well as Elate. Obviously a hard-fought second-place finish in the Personal Ensign. Where can we look to see them?
Well, you know, our original plan was to come with Elate come to the Belle Dame, and we're still on track to do that. She's back training, and I'd like to see her back here. She's only run twice this year, and I'd like to see her have another run before the Breeders' Cup, and you know, the options for the Breeders' Cup would be the distaff or even the, you know, the 1.25 mile stakes for her. So we've got a couple options with her. Yoshida has come out of his race in good order, and it's a good possibility that we may now wait for the Breeders' Cup with him. I mean, I think we've got to have a good look at the Classic with him.
Oh, definitely, after that dominating performance. Well, Bill, it's fun to talk to you, as always, and catch up on the big horses, but congrats here with Satisfy.
Thank you very much.
All right, Frank.
Thank you very much, Maggie. Bill Mott, always pure class, Hall of Famer.
Carrying over, right, Andy? I mean, he had a phenomenal Saratoga meet and carrying over to this so far.
No, he had a great meet for sure. It's odd to see him at Belmont. A lot of times he's up in Saratoga.
That is true.
Big weekend, yeah. Maybe he's here for the weekend.
Here's the Naira Bets late pick 5 follow along. 460, 370. There was $64,000 bet into this. And the Naira Bets late pick 5 is available every day of the Belmont Park meet through October 6th. It's exclusively available online for Naira Bets customers and on track in New York. Head to nairabets.com for details. Race 7 is coming up next. Maidens. And they're going 1 1/16 on the turf. And Andy?
Well, Paul and I were discussing competition of ideas. The 6 will be a heavy favorite by post time. But we were both shocked that Azteca Trail was even close, and actually second, maybe third choice ultimately appears the number 10 horse. Compression will be second choice by post time, but neither one of us could figure out the money for Azteca Trail, so that means he'll probably win.
Yeah, the only thing I can explain, the horse has never run at Belmont, but she's 0 for 10 with 4 seconds, and maybe Belmont's going to get her over her woes, but you have 2 Chad Browns in here, and the 4 soar from shadows for Jimmy Toner is pretty good.
I'm going to show you a very unique layout. It's at Kentucky Downs, and we are going to have a cross-country pick 4. Fans love a little creativity in the wagering world. We're going to have that for you this weekend. Stay tuned.
Turning for home in front. Coast of New York on the outside. California Chrome is third. Shared Belief laboring back there in fifth. 1 furlong to run. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome on the outside. The 3 of them come to the wire. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome. Here's the finish. Bayern holds on.
How do New York breds perform? They win in world-class company. From Grade 1 races in Dubai, where New York sired New York bred Mind Your Biscuits won the Golden Shaheen for a second time, to Belmont adding to his status as the richest New York bred with a close second in the Met Mile. The Belmont Festival saw 2 more New York breds become millionaires. 4-star Crook in the New York Stakes and world record setter Disco Partner with a repeat victory in the Jaipur. New York breds, get with the program.
Kentucky Downs is the home of half of our cross-country pick 4 tomorrow, and this place is offering great purses, great turf racing, very unique layout. I know Andy can't stand very unique, so he keeps telling me don't ever say very unique.
I like proper English.
I understand.
I expect more from a man of your stature.
Don't think of pink
he
elephants.
Speaks the Queen's English, like tomato and tomato, you know?
Here's their schedule for tomorrow. The Juvenile Turf Sprint, the Grade 3 Ladies Turf, the Grade 3 Ladies Sprint, the Grade 3 Turf Sprint, and the Grade 3 Kentucky Turf Cup. An outstanding program, but we have a very unique wager between Belmont Park and Kentucky Downs.
We have a unique wager. It's no more unique than any other things. Race number 6, Kentucky Downs Juvenile Turf Sprint is going to kick it off at 6.5 furlongs. I think the 11 May No Never's actually scratched. The horses to beat in here, the 2 Chattel, who won at Saratoga. You won't be getting 5-1 in that horse. You'll be getting closer to 2-1. And has to be at her tickets, of course, 1 are Skidmore. And then you've got Moonlight Romance, who got left in the gate in her attempt over at Royal Ascot. But this is her maiden win at Belmont Park, which was really devastating. Different course there. She's got to get 6.5 furlongs. This was 5 furlongs at Belmont back in May. Those are the two to beat. Chattel and Moonlight Romance. They'll be on everybody's tickets. A horse I'd probably use. Ben Colebrook has 2 in here. He's got the number 8, actually, a Life Mission, who comes over, a maiden from the Curragh, ran at Ireland twice. I actually like his other runner trying the dirt, Blame the Frog. I'll probably be looking to use 2, 9, 10 to start it out. The 8 would be the other horse I might consider.
That's the first leg of the cross-country pick 4. We come back to Belmont Park for the 8th race. Second leg, Paul, who do you like?
Well, you know, you look at the board, right, and you see Outrageous Bet at 2-1, and immediately you look at that horse. 0 for 7 this year, does not love to win races, and we'll show you his last race. And the other part of this, it's over a yielding racetrack. Now, will that help him at Kentucky Downs? It could. Kentucky Downs, can that help him here at Belmont Park? It could, but there's supposed to be a tiny bit of rain in the forecast. Maybe, maybe not. But if he gets fast, he's the kind of horse you can play against. Not So Quiet Man, Jupiter Rising, I thought had a big shot in there. I also thought the outside horse, Ghost Giant, has been in the barn for Jorge Abreu, was very impressive breaking his maiden.
Then we go back to Kentucky Downs, Andy, for the ladies' turf, $500,000 on the line. Who gets $300,000?
I imagine the favorite here is going to be Storm the Hill, the number 3 horse for Phil D'Amato. Hasn't had much success with limited starters. I think he's run 3 horses at Kentucky Downs over the last few years. This is her win in the Wilshire, a grade 3. This was back at Santa Anita in June. She did not run particularly well in the Yellow Ribbon, but that was a tougher spot. But she did not run well in that race. She's likely the favorite and the one to beat in here. But there's a lot of different ways to go. One horse that I'm very interested in, I'll probably bet to win, is the 8 in the Lee, going out for Shug McGay. She actually beat Pas de Souci back here at Belmont earlier last year. I think that was May 24th. I think she's an improving horse, and Shug's been waiting for this spot. I'll probably focus in on the 3, Storm the Hill, and the 8 in the Lee in this leg.
9th race closes it out, Paul, and this looks wide open.
Well, it is very wide open. You have a horse transaction tax. I mean, this horse entered in September 2nd, a couple days ago. Went to the front end going long. Horses are cutting back in here. Violent Times got on the turf for the first time, and she was absolutely dynamic, so she's going to take some money. Majestic 1. But Eloise, the 5, 3 for 24 lifetime, did get the win last time at Saratoga from off the pace, and I thought this was a pretty good win, beating Mentality. The issue that I have with her, she's 1 for 15 here at Belmont, and she's 0 for 8 at the distance. So maybe she's a horse who just likes Saratoga. She got the job done, and let's be honest, she was 0 for 11 going into this race the last 2 years. Do you honestly think she's going to win 2 races in a row? She could. I do think the 7's got a big shot in there. And then the 9 length. Maybe that horse can improve after breaking his maiden last time out, or her maiden.
It's the cross-country pick 4. It all starts at 4:55 p.m. over at Kentucky Downs. We're very happy to offer that wager. Once again, welcome back to the set alongside Paul LaDuca and Andy Serling. I'm Frank Miramati, and Paul's between us to stop any kind of battles.
You guys have been like really too nice today.
Don't worry.
Certainly.
It's an hour and a half
that
left.
Too nice.
Just keep saying.
I was trying to get him upset.
Keep saying very unique. See where that gets you.
Try my best. Meet your standards. It'll be tough, but I'll do the best I can. 7th race is coming up next. We hope you're alive. Paul is in the late pick 4. This also starts the late pick 3. Always fun to watch maidens on the grass. You have some interesting pedigrees in here, including number 8, Steamy Windows, who is an extremely interesting individual. But
great pedigree.
When you look at the name Competition of Ideas, you don't need to know who the owner is. You know it's the Claravit Stables. Their names are always put together, and they have some sort of financial meaning sometimes.
Quite often. You know, this is a horse that I believe will really benefit from getting back to the 1 turn, and it's a 1 turn with a dog leg, but it's effectively a long run down the bat stretch, as opposed to the mile race Saratoga, where she hit the turn very quickly. She's a grinder. She's quick, and she may be the controlling speed in here, but she doesn't have the speed to clear the field going a mile at Saratoga, especially from an outside post. So she ended up getting hung on the outside and had to try to ground it out in the stretch in a race where the horses that were competitive were towards the inside. She'll benefit from this long 1 turn.
Real quick before we send it to Maggie, who was better that day? Competition of Ideas or Compression?
That was 2 back here. I thought I thought Competition of Ideas was a little bit better, but Compression ran well that day.
Okay. She's been the beaten favorite 3 straight times. Puts the blinkers on, maybe some more speed. Let's go to Maggie in the paddock.
That's right, guys. And competition of ideas is one of two Chad Brown horses in here, as you guys were mentioning. But between the two, physically, I much prefer her. But it is kind of put up or shut up time, as she will likely be a short price in here, as she has been in all of her starts thus far. But conditioning-wise, she looks tremendous here. Now, just a shortcut blinker goes on, and I do think she is a bit sharper than what I've seen from her in her previous efforts. So I'm hoping that is what they are searching for, and that is what will lead her to the winner's circle. Now, moving on to a big price in here, that's number 7, We Are Family, just to her outside, as she'll get back on the turf for only the second time. First time she tried it sprinting, and I literally wrote in my notes that she has a turf hoof but may prefer going longer. So I'm getting my wish here. We'll see if she's capable of kind of, improving on the turf here, because she's going to have to. But physically, she looks as though she should appreciate this change, and also the distance too. Now, number 8 is Stormy Windows. She is a first-time starter with a very lovely pedigree. I mean, she's by Giants Causeway. She kind of looks like a effeminate version of Giants Causeway here. Similar coloring, same head, very, very fit in here. Looks as though she's run before this, and she carries a pretty nice dam side pedigree too. I mean, very good turf horses, Warbond, Infinite Wisdom, Chamois, Center Divider, all of them were runners, and she looks the same here. So we'll see what this Grand Motion first-time starter can bring to the table, Frank.
Thank you very much, Maggie. And of course, her Paddock reports brought to you by Hillendale Farm, standing Curlin for $150,000. 3 of Curlin's daughters in this race, and Curlin's had a magnificent year and summer. The wins just keep coming. And the post parade in a moment will actually kick off with a daughter of Curlin, a first-time starter by the name of Sky Hawk, out of an unraced mare. Only sibling was 0 for 7, but in the hands of Mark Hennig, whose work with first-time starters this year, Andy, has been outstanding.
It was funny. Mark was interviewed by Maggie about the exact same thing at Saratoga, and he said, I was terrible with first-time starters before this year when I had horses that couldn't win first time. Yeah. And he's right. Listen, there are trainers that are good firsters, and obviously Mark knows how to get a good horse ready. But at the end of the day, you better have the right horses in your barn.
Right. He's gotten some great owners, and it's important to then answer the bell, which he has done time and time again.
Yeah, the other part of this is in 2018, it's what have you done for me lately? A lot of guys have changed their training style. The old Mike Mitchell and even Doug O'Neill back in the day used to not win first time out, used to take their time. But now people, when they get into a horse, they want the horse to win immediately. So these trainers are getting them ready a little bit earlier, you know what I mean? Instead of racing them into shape.
There's a lot of pressure, my friend.
Yeah,
there's a lot of competition
when you spend that much money at sales, they want their money returned immediately.
It's like in baseball. Sometimes there's a quick hook.
Hear ya.
There's a look at number 7, We Are Family, and when I saw that, it brought me back to the memories of 1979 and the Pittsburgh Pirates. So beauty of Twitter, I sent a message to Samantha Siegel. Are you a Pittsburgh Pirates fan by any chance? Is that the reason for the name? A very resounding no. Nothing to do.
I'm shocked she even responds to you.
We both attended Beverly Hills High School in very similar time frames. Yes.
Well, David Schwimmer?
David Schwimmer was in my math class.
I think he tells friends, like they have the Monmouth feet on. They go, I was in math class with that guy. I can't believe he amounted to anything.
Jay Pribman one day of the Daily Racing Form asked me if I went to high school with David Schwimmer. I said, matter of fact, we were in the same math class. He said, well, and we talked a little more. He goes, do you know who he is? I said, no idea. I looked him up. He was making $750,000 a week.
You call him after that.
He's doing well. Listen, I think we should put together a pick 6 tomorrow. Here is the post parade for race 7. Fillies and mares on the grass. Who will graduate this afternoon? Sky Hawk kicks it off. We talked about her being a daughter of Curlin.
This is the half of the entry that stays in. The other one, an interesting player on tomorrow. We'll see what we get from this first or tough spot.
Number 3 is Astaku Trail. She's 0 for 10, but bred to graduate any time now.
Couldn't have had an easier trip last time, saving ground on the rail the whole way and angling out. Hard to see her at the short price.
Not many do better work with females on the grass than Mr. Jimmy Toner. He has Soar from Shadows here.
Yeah, her race at Belmont 3-back I thought was very good. And if she can get back to that, she's in the mix here.
My man Richie Rich of Equibase at Monmouth Park tells me that when horses like number 5, Red Curls, drop into a maiden claimer and then show a little bit of life, you could take them seriously against the maiden special weights once again. Is that true, and does she have a chance?
And she didn't run any better in the maiden claiming race than she did on her maiden special. She just found easier competition, I thought.
Speaking of competition, number 6 is Competition of Ideas. Nice assist, Andy Serling.
Yeah, the one to beat here, and 2-1, and for the leading owner and leading trainer at Saratoga in 2018.
Number 7, We Are Family for Samantha Siegel's JMS stable. Of course, that was Jan, Mace, and Samantha before her parents passed.
Thanks for that, Frank. I think she would have preferred to be running on the surface she's on right now. Her one turf race was not good.
And number 8, Steamy Windows, out of a very talented mare named Meridiana. She was a multiple graded stakes winner. 7 of her 8 siblings have earned over 100,000, in fact, well over, and she herself was 3rd in the Grade 2 Sheepshead Bay. Did I leave you anything to talk about?
Yeah, this horse has been working at Fairhill over the synthetic and got a turf work and go over. So, yeah, you're right. The pedigree is there. If she runs it, she's going to be tough.
Here's Compression for Juddmonte Farms. Rallied last time to finish 3rd.
I thought it was a good effort. This filly by First Defense is a tricky filly to read. She gets an outside post, but I think she might surprise people here.
Were you surprised with the claim of Anne Dupree last time out?
No, because she's run well against maiden specials. She just wants more distance, so it's a good stretch out for new trainer John Toscano. I just don't know if she's good enough regardless.
Let's go to Maggie, who's standing by with Jimmy Toner.
Thanks, Frank. And yes, here with Jimmy Toner. Soar from Shadows here, Jimmy. At this kind of distance, she's been pretty competitive throughout. Can we see her break through here today?
I hope so. Time's running out as far as her, chances here are. It's a shame she tries hard every time she runs. She just can't catch a break. And hopefully she catches a break today and everything goes her way today and we can get lucky.
Now, next race coming up, the Christie Cat. You'll send out Mama Nu. Was the 5.5 up at Saratoga just a little too short for her?
No, I think she was. I don't think the 5.5 was too short. I think she just got, at that time, the first weekend, it rained every day, and it was kind of boggy down in on the inside, and she just didn't handle it. She got stuck down in there, and she just wasn't comfortable at all.
Much better back here on her preferred Belmont surface, right?
Plus, she got an outside post, and she'll be in a good spot here, and I'm sure she'll handle this much better.
All right, Jimmy. Well, wishing you best of luck in both spots here today.
All right, thank you very much, Maggie.
All right, Frank.
Thank you very much. That was Jimmy Toner, and trying to get the cap and gown for Soar from Shadows. We're going to take a timeout. When we return, the start of the late pick 3. It's the 7th, live from Belmont Park.
Grade 1 winner Lee traveled the world competing against the best of his generation. A graded stakes winner on both dirt and turf, he set a new track record in the Grade 1 Don Handicap and retired with earnings of more than $2.3 million. Now his flashy first crop yearlings are turning heads with a striking resemblance to their internationally successful sire. The sky's the limit for this promising young stallion. Lee, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Welcome back to Belmont Park Live, brought to you by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. They're coming toward the gate for today's 7th race. 2 fillies that are familiar with one another. Number 6, Competition of Ideas. Number 10, Compression. Your thoughts on those two as we take a look at the selections? And Maggie does go with that first-time starter, Steamy Windows. Here's the question, Andy. Are you better off having another race under the belt of Competition of Ideas or a fresher Compression here?
I don't think it really matters that much. I mean, Competition Ideas now isn't running a month and a half, so I don't worry about some time. I also think Competition Ideas, the 6, may be the speed of this race. Blinkers on. She's actually faster than these horses early, so unless somebody gets aggressive, she could be in a controlling position, Paul, on what is the first turf race we've run at Belmont getting back from Saratoga.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, he might have the 2 punch in here. John Toscano claimed the 11. I don't know what's going to happen there, but other than that, the 6 is the speed in here. Now, We Are Family has shown speed on dirt. We just don't know that's going to transfer to turf. So then Compression will be the other horse that will be loading from outside. So Chad's got a pretty wicked 1-2 punch in here. Soar from Shadows, the 4. That horse needs pace.
And Maggie has that interesting first or Steamy Windows that we talked about, trained by Graham Motion. Same ownership as Meridiana. John Kelly owned Meridiana, who was trained by Christophe Clement years ago.
Well, Meridiana was a stakes were in the turf of over $550,000 and ran buyer figures in the high 90s. She's produced 8 runners to try the turf. 7 of them won, and I think almost all of them were stakes winners. She's a tremendous broodmare.
No question. She owes Mr. Kelly nothing, but he wouldn't mind seeing another W right here. Let's send it up to the voice of the Triple Crown, Larry Comas, for the call.
Last couple to move into line here, Compression and Anne Dupree will complete the line here. Compression and John Velasquez, one of the Chad Brown trainees, at odds of 3-1, about to move into the starting gate. Competition of Ideas, the other, is 6-5. They've opened up the front of the gates to get Compression in. And here's Anne Dupree, and they're all in line. Now, going through the starting gate here, almost all the way through, is Competition of Ideas. Didn't get anywhere. They're going to close that gate, and we'll be ready to roll here. Ready for the start. They're off. Very even beginning. And Anne Dupree on the far outside goes out to the early lead with Competition of Ideas away running in second. And then it's Steamy Windows, Soar from Shadows on the inside, and We Are Family, followed by Red Curls. Astiku Trail is next, Compression on the far outside, and Skyhawk at the back of the pack. Onto the backstretch, Anne Dupree has taken charge here, a long shot leader, on top by a length over Competition of Ideas as they go through the first quarter in 24.73 seconds. And then it's Soar from Shadows, Steamy Windows on the outside, and We Are Family 5th between those two. Compression is 6th on the far outside and 6th from the front. And then it's Astiku Trail, Skyhawk, and Red Curls at the back of the pack. Anne Dupree on top up the backstretch, and in the clear here by 2. Competition of Ideas tracks in second, 49.26 was an easy half mile. Soar from Shadows, 3rd on the inside. Steamy Windows being pushed on to go in 4th, has to get moving now. And then comes We Are Family to the inside, followed by Astiku Trail, races inside of Compression on the far turn. Meanwhile, it is still Anne Dupree who leads the way by 3/4 of a length, and Competition of Ideas is edging up closer now in second. Soar from Shadows in a contending spot 3rd. The others 4 lengths behind. We Are Family and Astiku Trail are next. 3/4, 113.85. They're into the stretch. And here comes Competition of Ideas up to grab the lead and take over now from Anne Dupree. Soar from Shadows is 3rd and trying to close in. Then comes We Are Family and Astiku Trail. But it's all Competition of Ideas and Javier Castellano. And they're running up the score as they come down to the wire. They're going to win by about 8 in the end as Anne Dupree lasts for second at a big price. And then it was Soar from Shadows and a late-running Skyhawk.
The blinkers on, Competition of Ideas focuses. Javier peeks back, lights out for the competition.
Nobody ran. I mean, nobody else ran besides this filly right here. She destroyed this group. And by the way, she broke through the gate to start the race, and she still crushed this group.
You know, talking about it, I mean, it was a clear-cut victory, and the winner was an hour the best in this race. A lot of give in the course, too, especially for not having run on it for almost 2 months. That final time, and you can see how much they're kicking up, as we like to call them sometimes, pancakes on the course. But you're right. I mean, nobody closed at all. It looked like Soar from Shadows was amazing. We both said in the turn, we were all saying she can beat competition ideas. I don't even know if she held on for third here. I mean, nobody ran behind the first 2 speeds in here, and you wonder if maybe, and not knocking competition ideas was clearly best, but maybe this course was just tough for anybody to close on.
It was, in my opinion, the 4 finishing third. 6:11.41 is what it looked like. There's
the call, Frank. It was about a half length.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean,
nailed. That's why you're a pro.
That's why I call the big races, you know?
Very unique photo.
By the way, that was an improved effort from Ann Dupree.
Yeah.
Let's face it. She stepped up.
Paul nailed it.
And it might have been waking up in a maiden claiming race. Sometimes that really does give horses a little bit more competitive spirit.
Well, also, as Paul pointed out, she could very well be the speed in this race.
Yeah,
and you said it
trying to figure
beforehand
out,
because she had shown speed going long, and obviously she couldn't do that going 5.5 furlongs last time out, and she did run well to be second. But this winner for the connections that crushed up in Saratoga, I mean, once again, didn't skip a beat.
Back where they belong in the winner's circle shortly. We're going to take a timeout. We're going to come back, make this race official, and there's a look at Broadway Run. 7-2 on David Aragona's morning line, and she has won 2 of 3. She'll look to make it 75% on top in her career when we return.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Welcome back to Belmont Park Live, presented by Claiborne Farm. Naira Bet's 20% winners bonus. Well, California Racing has shifted to Los Alamitos. You can play the early pick 4 on Naira Bets for a 20% winners bonus. That's very significant. Every day throughout the meet. Los Al races Friday through Sunday through September 23rd. So the 20% winners bonus Friday through Sunday through September 23rd. Visit NairaBets.com for details. There is competition of ideas. A daughter of the great Speightstown. It's versatile on any surface.
Yeah, blinkers go on. Javier Castellano, Chad Brown. We talked about it. Seth Klarovich. They took a lot of win photos. I think they might be tired of smiling. It's like going to a wedding with those guys. They just get tired at the end of it. But Ann Dupree, 31-1, rounds out a pretty nice exacta with competition of ideas at 6-5. Wow.
Let's go back to the pick 5 follow along. Chalk City, USA, 6-5, 4-5, 6-5. So far, my kind of day.
You're crushing today, Frank.
Just step on the gas. Total pool again over $64,000. Here's the field for the Christie Cat. This will be at 6 furlongs over the inner turf, labeled as good. Scratch numbers 9 and 11. The recently concluded Saratoga meet, as always, included a tremendous number of stars in the making in the 2-year-old ranks. And we have some of our favorites to talk about right now, but it was seemingly one after the other, which is what you expect at Saratoga because people are pointing that way.
That's what you want. You know, you want to see it at Del Mar out for California. You want to see it in Saratoga. You hate it when you have a bunch of Saturdays and think, this one looked good, that one looks good, and they all run sort of mediocrely. This year really delivered in a big way. A lot of good-looking maidens.
No, exactly, and that's what, you know, Del Mar and Saratoga are for. We want to see those flashy pedigrees. We want to see those big auction prices and see how they run in the 2-year-old races, and we saw some nice ones from different trainers too.
And despite Todd Pletcher not unveiling anybody that was particularly interesting, but we did see some from Chad Brown. We also saw a very nice one from Kieran McLaughlin as well.
No question. Let's start with complexity. This was closing day, and this guy can flat out run.
I mean, he had been rumored to be a runner for a while. Chad Brown had mentioned on closing day he was going to run this horse, and 90 buyer for him. And to put it into compare, the hopeful that day got an 84 buyer, and his buyer actually matched that of Mucho, who lost the hopeful, but in his maiden win, it was a very promising debut for a horse that the sky could be the limit.
Yeah, I love this debut. You know why? The Pletcher horse that came rolling for third, which is going to, I think they like to go longer, he had a ton of buzz. To me, now, this horse endorsed might have been the most flashiest. I still think this race is loaded. The horse that finished third in this race, I thought, it's got a lot of potential. The horse in front broke bad for Chad Brown and as fast as can be, and he ran him down. The 1 and 2 runners in here are legit.
Place finisher, the one in front now, was rumored to be the second best of the Colt sprinters. And the sprinter they paid almost $500,000 for, a big drama. The thing about Endorse was impressive. He got a very good trip to win, don't get me wrong. His pedigree says longer. So he's going to get better with more distance, and he's still got it done over a very talented runner at 6.
Feedback was ultra impressive herself throughout this meet. When you look, they were just runner after runner. Who's beating her?
This was a joke. I mean, we did see the second place finisher lost by 8 come back and win narrowly on closing day, but still got the job done, or closing weekend. And what can you say? This was the single best performance we saw from a 2-year-old filly on the dirt.
Yeah, it was. It was. You know, you can see right there with her ears too. That was a joke. I mean, you can see just pat her on the back. It's a beautiful thing when you have a win ticket on a horse like that. And I know that's your kind of winner there, Frank. But yeah, they rolled out some nice 2-year-olds.
And all of those could be in action here. You've got the Verzette coming up, where feedback's pointing to that. And I think both, possibly Complexity as well as Endorse, could be in the Champagne. That could be heck of a race, good races.
There were some great races on the turf as well that caught the eye of Maggie Wolfendale. Maggie, tell us.
Well, not much difference as far as the Silks go, as in regards to the most impressive turf 2-year-old filly that we saw. Now, truth be told, we did not get to run that many 2-year-old turf races, so maybe there still is a star in the making out there. But newspaper of record, she was by far the most dominating and impressive 2-year-old turf filly that we saw. She is a European bred. This was over a good course in which she floated over it. You can see the other horses just kicking up the clods of turf, and you barely see any kickback from her, which I think just speaks to the fact that she really appreciated the surface, and 2, she is that nice. And I'm sure she can do the same thing on a firm course as well, and she'll be likely pointing to the Miss Grillo, which is in less than a month's time here. It's September 30th, so the Sunday after Turf Classic Day. But also, the day before, we will see Opry likely in the Pilgrim, as he's already a Greatest Stakes winner, but with anticipation. Now, he looked as though he was going absolutely nowhere for his first try on turf here for Todd Pletcher. Then all of a sudden, once he gets clear and in the straight, he absolutely pours it on to catch horses that were up towards the front end here. So I think Opry really, truly has a future, as he's striding out quite nicely towards the end there. So these are 2 promising turf horses to keep our eyes on heading into our stakes here at Belmont Park. But who knows, guys, there still might be a few more nice 2-year-old turf horses waiting in the wings.
There's a look at our impressive 2-year-olds from Saratoga. And of course, the big goal for the 2-year-olds, as you take a look at a picture of Sebastian Harbor, who was so impressive herself, is of course the Grade 1 hopeful at the end of the meet. And we talked about Mucho, what a great performance he had put in when he graduated. Well, when he showed up for the hopeful, He ran into a horse that had a couple of starts under his belt, and that is Mind Control. And Mind Control was absolutely up to the task here. Look at him out of the gate. He's going to show some immediate, sharp, early speed. He's going to duel briefly inside the Steve Asmussen runner, but look how he's just cruising through the early stages.
He beat Mucho fair and square. I don't want to drop Mucho from that list. Mind Control belongs, Mucho does as well. I hope both of them come in the Champagne. We could see a heck of a race. This is a good race, I agree.
I agree, and look at him here. Mucho is coming with what was a perfect trip. He's bearing down on the outside, but Mind Control, a son of Stay Thirsty, a homebred for the Red Oak stable after his second start. They sold a part of him to Paddock stable, and they get rewarded here. This was a very emotional family win. There's a great story in the Thoroughbred Daily News written by Joe Bianca about Greg Sacco, whose father was a trainer. There's a look at all of them in the winner's circle. His brother Rick, right next to him, actually hired me for my first job as the track announcer at Hialeah Park. So certainly I was very pleased to see them winning this big race. And you know, the special part of this is Mr. John Brunetti Sr., of course, built the Red Oak stable. He was so passionate about racing, longtime owner of Hialeah Park, who passed away this year. You know, for what's happening now for his sons Stephen and John Jr. to get this big win at Saratoga. They had a grade 1 earlier in the Apple Blossom. Just a phenomenal win, and well-deserved. Because everyone's coming to the Hopeful to try to win, and they were faster than all of them, Andy. What did you think?
I thought the horse ran very well. You know, we'll see how he does stretching out. We'll see how he does under different situations, but under the gun from the inside, Mucho had every chance to beat him. I still think Mucho's a very good horse for Claiborne Farm, and won't be surprised to see him get back in the winner's circle in the Champagne, but I can't knock Mind Control. He was terrific in that race.
Yeah, and I think, you know, everybody was worried about the 7 on the outside. Meanwhile, he just kept cruising along on the inside. And to speak to Greg Sacco before the race, and to know Greg actually working at Monmouth for 3 years, he's been working with Red Oak for so long. It's such a giant win for them, and he was just in tears after the race. Pretty
big,
cool.
Yeah, it was a huge win, and in fact, he went back to the track today, did Mind Control, and went around there for a mile, and he came out sharp as a tack. We have the Christie Cat Stakes coming up next. We're going to take a quick timeout, and then a very interesting feature on our Friday opening day card. Stay with us.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Soft gonna turn with a link to the half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Welcome back to Belmont Park Live, brought to you by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. They are locked and loaded at Claiborne. Blame's having a fantastic year. Of course, their signature stallion, Warfront, the great Run Happy. It was great to see all that Run Happy Travers stuff via simulcast I was watching.
That.
You didn't? Did you see anything there?
I didn't even notice. Oh, yeah. Frank, did you see, Paul, did you see anything that day?
Nothing at all.
I don't know what Frank's talking about.
I got my Run Happy hat.
You needed to.
You got that cool, that bottle for keeping stuff cool. I got a lot of rave reviews about that.
Lasix and drug-free for Run Happy. Jim Mattress Mac McInville, very proud of him. And
I agree.
They're sending
As he should be.
They're sending some good mares in that direction. Bernie Sams keeps telling me, listen, he's fine. He's booked. What do you keep advertising him for? But you know what? Mac has his way of doing things, and we're certainly proud to partner with him. Ms. Mayhem is 5-2. At the top of the show, we talked about the fact this is a family affair. Trained by Jason Service. His brother-in-law is Eddie Plisa Jr., and so therefore Jason's sister is the owner and breeder. Here she is winning over at Laurel.
And just to further that, Eddie Plisa Jr. has been the trainer of this horse throughout her career,
yes.
And she was recently transferred to Jason Service. Sometimes it's because he's not licensed in New York State, so there's reasons. Sometimes you'll see horses run for other trainers, and she hasn't been with Jason Service for too long, but regardless of the trainer change, she's the horse to beat off for consistency.
No, she really is. And the thing is her 5 furlong races, she's been devastating. That race you just saw, to me, proves that she can get the 6 furlongs because she didn't break well. She had a little adversity, and she was still able to get 5.5 furlongs at Laurel at a different place. And the Laurel turfers have done well shipping here to New York.
You know, it's very rare for Jason Service to have a horse with a higher winning percentage than he does, and that is the case with Ms. Mayhem. The other horse taking some action, well, she's now the third choice at 9-2, is the 3 Broadway Run, and she is a daughter of Prospective. For some reason, I couldn't remember who Prospective was. I looked him up. He ran one of the fastest Tampa Bay Derbies ever, was trained by Mark Cassie, but Broadway Run has run particularly well. In all of her starts. She's fired every time.
She has, and I don't want to knock a horse that's been as good as she is.
But then go ahead and do it.
No,
Here it
well,
comes.
no, you're not supposed to bet her in this race.
Okay.
Because you missed the boat last time, and last time there were a bevy of speed horses in the race that she ran in the Coronation Cup, and somehow she managed to get loose at a very moderate pace. And I just don't see that happening in today's race, especially going 6 furlongs. I don't want to knock her as a horse because she has run well in every single race she's been in. But I think she took advantage of very favorable circumstance last time.
Let's go to Maggie Wolfendale, who's going to bring us the Hillendale Paddock Report, one of the many stallions at Hillendale. McLean's Music, who had a great Sun debut in Complexity the other day.
And horses ready for this Christie Cat, as we will start with your current favorite. That is Miss Mayhem, who is looking to put her 5-win streak here on the line, looking to go making her last 6 starts as wins this time around for Jason Service. And she looks great. She looks as if anything you want from a 3-year-old turf sprinting filly. A little bit on the smaller side, though handier. She carries her weight well. She's a professional here in the paddock. I like what I see from her, though I still like my horse, and that's a lesser experienced number 3 Broadway Run. I know maybe circumstances put her in the right spot last time, but I think this is a very nice filly for trainer John Terranova. She looks sensational here. She is what I look for in horses. She's just filled out so nicely behind the saddle. She's just a bigger, stronger version of a 3-year-old filly than many of the other foes that she faces here today. Now moving on to one that might offer a little bit of value. That's number 5, Kitten's Cover Girl. She looks fantastic here. And yes, the argument could be made that she's better going longer, and I totally get that. I mean, her form would absolutely suggest that. But I will say that she is sharp here in the paddock, which is always a good thing for horses turning back in distance, as she'll go the 6 furlongs here for Pat Reynolds. And, you know, I like what I see. She's another one that's ticked all the boxes for me, and the good thing about her is you're going to get a decent price, Frank.
And right now you're looking at 7-1. On Kitten's Cover Girl, who comes out of a race at Indiana Downs. Or I should say, out of her last race, the 9th and 10th finishers came back to win at Indiana Downs and Monmouth. I can read that she was at Belmont Park in her most recent start. You know, we laugh sometimes about how some people simply just read the past performances. That was a case of not paying attention to the past performances. But the 9th and 10th finishers from her last race came back to win at Indiana Downs
Keep
and
digging, Frank.
Monmouth, respectively. Speaking of Monmouth Park, don't forget, since you were so impressed with that mind control recap I gave, Andy, that mind control did graduate.
My head is still spinning.
I got to tell you a quick story before these horses get on the track.
Please.
Because, no, this is good. So I'm with Andy, and a lot of people who watch this show would never think that Andy and I would actually be going to dinner, but we did go to dinner.
I'm surprised we're not still there.
And we're driving, and it was the day that Call Paul, it was a couple of days after Call Paul had won at Saratoga. And I said to Andy, Andy, I meant to tell you the other day, I meant to call you the other day, and I feel bad I didn't. And you know what Andy's response was? It was almost like one of those game shows, like $25,000 pyramid. He goes, I know, you were going to tell me mind control won in 109 and 3 the other day at that same day at Monmouth. I'm thinking, like, how does your mind even come up with that thing? That was like, to me.
I'm friends with you, so I question how my mind would work. It's probably what you don't want to go into.
We weren't even talking about anything to do with racing. I said, I meant to call you to tell you something. He says, I know what you meant to tell me. You meant to tell me that this horse.
He's always on that mode. You know that, right?
He's always thinking.
I was thinking, what possible piece of useful information could Frank Miramati have? And I did a quick run, and it was the only thing that came up. And I just figured that's what it was.
Goes on searching. Oh, yeah,
right.
I know.
I did a quick Google search.
That was it.
Smart things Frank could have said to me, and really it was one entry on the page.
Mind control. Yeah. All right, we're about to head onto the track for our featured event, the Christie Cat. And this is over the inner turf. Once again, you can see on your screen.
It'll be interesting to see how the inner turf plays, because often it's a little slower when we get rain in the Widener. And the Widener had taken so much rain. I wonder if this will be a little bit softer, or maybe not. I mean, sometimes these courses drive very differently one way or the other.
Here is a look at number 1 in the post parade, the famous Calumet Silks, at least the newer version of the famous Calumet Silks, for Closer Still.
I'm all in on Closer Still, who ran a remarkable race last time. Had lengths and lengths of trouble and still closed well into a slow pace.
Number 2 is Ms. Mayhem, trained by Jason Service for his sister, owner-breeder Lori Plisa.
Yeah, you were talking about that. Edgard Zayas in the irons. The filly by Yes by Jimmy, 6 for 13 lifetime.
The 3 is Broadway Run. Maggie liked the looks of her in the paddock, and she is at 9-2.
She's run well every time she's run, but her last race is dressed up by circumstance.
The late, great Scat Daddy is the sire of number 4, Tesora, who's getting some play here for Jonathan Thomas, 7-2.
Yeah, when you look at the multis, she's second choice in everything, and she's pretty close to the 2 here, and Jonathan Thomas has been on fire.
Kitten's Cover Girl is by Kitten's Joy, and you know that means one thing: she can run on the grass.
The only competitive race she's run was her last race, which was a mile, not today's 6 furlong distance, but it was a good effort.
Next in the post parade is number 6, Factor of One. 12-1 right now. Joel Rosario for Christophe Clement.
I've had a couple people come up to me say they like this filly because of the trouble she had last time. I get it, she checked, but I really don't know if she was really moving. We'll see.
Long shot here, 23-1 is the 7, Super Striking.
She looks higher than 23-1 in her PPs.
Lady Subi with the colors of Dub and Partners. Boy, they won some races at Saratoga, didn't they? And they all seem to get hammered at the windows.
Yeah, and she's a filly that, you know, didn't want to be in front going a mile. I think she lays back and makes one run, just like most of Chad's.
I'll say the 10's name slowly. Mamanu. You think of Monomoy Girl and you might get tongue-tied.
That is
Mamanu.
true. Yeah. Every time I think of this, I think of Grease, but it's not even close. Mamanu. Of course, got some speed on the outside, but I'm thinking of ABBA.
It's got the right trainer in Jimmy Toner. All pets are welcome here at beautiful Belmont Park. We're going to take a timeout. When we return, they'll be heading to the gate for the Christie Cat. Go to NyraBets.com.
Mastery retired undefeated, winning his 4 starts by a combined 20 lengths. A 6-figure September sale purchase, he won impressively in his 2-year-old debut at Santa Anita. From there, he captured the Grade 3 Bob Hope Stakes and completed his juvenile campaign with a dominant performance in the Grade 1 Los Alamitos Futurity. At 3, the top-rated son of Candy Ride sizzled in the San Felipe, running a 105 buyer and winning by open lengths. Mastery, new for 2018 at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with NyraBets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or NyraBets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Off the turn with a length and a half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NyraBets.com.
Welcome back, and you're watching Belmont Park Live as the gate is set at the 6 furlong marker for this Christie Cat, the 3-year-old fillies, sprinting here on the good turf course. Now, I got a chance to catch up with trainer Christophe Clement, who will be sending out Factor of One for her second start for the barn. Now, last time he felt as though she got pretty unlucky at the start, drawn towards the inside, kind of got intimidated. She is a quicker filly, he believes, than what she had shown in that effort. Obviously, her previous efforts would suggest that as well. Again, he's concerned about the ground. Obviously, this filly was running out in California, where it's very firm, and again, she's catching a course with give to it. He feels as though she's training nicely, and I also noticed too, as he mentioned, she seems a little more calm, a little more focused. Saratoga can be a very difficult place for a horse who's never been there before, like she was in her previous start in the Coronation Cup. Moving on to Mamanu as well, coming out of the same race. She really caught my eye on track here. She kind of won me over a little bit more, and I feel as though 12-1, she definitely offers some value because she's run fast enough races in her previous efforts to suggest that she could be very competitive here. She looks great. The problem with her, though, is I know Jimmy is convinced she's a sprinter and she's won going 5/8 at Gulfstream, which is very tough to do, but I think that maybe just a little more ground as she's getting older might be a little better for her, guys.
Thank you very much, Maggie. Andy, we know you like the one Closer Still, who is 14-1. State your case.
Well, first of all, obviously some given the ground wouldn't hurt because she ran well with the give last time. She got completely shuffled out. Those 5.5 furlong races in the turf at Saratoga, inside post can be very dangerous. She was already shuffled out of position early, and then the horse who's actually in this race, Factor of One, had some trouble in front of her and just completely took her out of the race. Julian Lebereau steadied her way back to last. She was way out of the race, and considering the slow pace, she did an amazing job to finish 5th, beaten just 4 lengths. And I think with a clean trip here, she could absolutely win this race.
And if she does, you're going to get handsomely rewarded. Last few are left to load, including Ms. Mayhem, who gets a couple of taps from Edgard Zayas. Not in the quickest loading position here. She's kind of taking her time. I always like to see them go right in. We got about 4. Look, I don't like when assistant starters have to get behind a horse who is 2-1, but she's going in grudgingly.
So at 8-1, it's okay?
Well, the whole point of it, I think you can figure out what the point of that is. Super Striking is going in. And he's the greatest, isn't he?
I can't help it, Frank.
Should we get back to that argument from 4 shows ago?
I get so few opportunities to be with you. I can't help myself.
You are the greatest, my friend. Let's have the last couple to go in. Here's Lady Subi and Mamanu for Jimmy Toner, daughter of Congrats. Here's Larry Comas with the call.
They're all in line. They're off in the Christie Cat. Mamanu is sent out of there with Factor of One, and from the inside it's Ms. Mayhem. Broadway Run is away running in 4th position. And then comes Lady Subi on the outside of Kitten's Cover Girl. Tesora next and Closer Still down toward the inside. At the back of the pack, it's Super Striking as Mamanu leads them along here. Mamanu on top by a length up the backstretch. Broadway Run is second. To the outside, Factor of One is third. Ms. Mayhem is fourth on the inside. 2 off the lead. 21.98 that opening quarter mile. Kitten's Cover Girl 4 lengths off the lead and riding the rail around the turn. Then it's Lady Subi to the outside, followed by Tesora, who's 7 lengths behind at this stage. The trainers are Closer Still and Super Striking as they make their way to the top of the stretch. Mamanu, Broadway Run, and a 3-wide Factor of One, and they turn for home after a 45.55 half. Ms. Mayhem put to a drive in 4th as they come to the final furlong. Kitten's Cover Girl is down toward the inside. Closer Still is making a move between horses. Tesora's closing on the far outside with a rush, and here comes Tesora, and she's charging down the center of the course. Tesora to the front in late stretch from Broadway Run and Closer Still, and Tesora wins the Christie Cat. Broadway Run and Closer Still in a photo for the place, and then it was Factor of One.
Tesora storms to victory. A very impressive turn of foot, the final 1/8 of a mile, defeating Broadway Run and Closer Still, who rallied as well.
Yeah, listen, Till 2 rides here. This was very interesting. The 4 sat a trip where he had to swing out really wide. The 1 had probably the worst of it, but Jonathan Thomas, you just cannot stop this man right now. The 3 cut all the fraction. Now, you can tell the 2 Miss Mayhem was in trouble from the beginning, was getting quarter horse out of there and was going nowhere.
No, this was an excellent ride by Javier Castellano because he stayed out in the clear. And by being out in the clear, he got that unencumbered run. Closer still did not get an unencumbered run. And if Junior Alvarado had taken her outside, she obviously would have been no worse than second. But this is a case where Tesoro was badly compromised by the lack of pace last time, got a much more favorable pace scenario. To be fair to Broadway Run, she didn't get the same favorable pace scenario today, and she still ran well to be second. She should have been third, but still, she ran well here. So Broadway Run comes out very well. But Jonathan Thomas, Catholic boys trainer, another big win for him.
How about Tesoro? She's 3 years old. She's run 5 races at 5 different racetracks. This is phenomenal. 9-2, and that's a riding triple for Javier Castellano, daughter of Scat Daddy. Wins the featured Christie Cat. We're going to take a timeout. There's a photo for second. It went to number 3, Broadway Run. 4-3-1 in the Christie Cat. Stay with us.
Switches back to the outside. Exaggerator down to the 16th pole. But Exaggerator has turned the tables. He has won the Preakness. Nice has won the Travers over American flag. Irish War Cry has won the Wood Memorial. Alice. Good Magic's gonna win his first race, and he's gonna do it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Welcome back to Belmont Park Live, brought to you by Claiborne Farm, and there is a look at the North Shore Towers in New Hyde Park. And there is a look. We talked about Javier Castellano winning 3. This is his 3rd aboard Tesoro for Jonathan Thomas. Not only is she run now at 5 different racetracks, it's been at 5 different distances with 4 different riders. What more can you ask for her?
And she's run well in all of her starts. I mean, Jonathan Thomas, I mean, I think people caught his name when Catholic Boy obviously won the Travers, but we talked about him quite a bit, Paul, when we were here this spring and summer. I mean, the job he does day in and day out with his horses is remarkable. He's a guy on the upswing.
He really is a guy on the upswing, and a guy that this horse is going to want to go longer, and I think he's going to give another shot here. And congratulations to Eclipse Thoroughbreds. And we finally get a double-digit winner to spice up that late pick 5, and the wheel pays are a little bit better than you'd think. Monet more problems. Get a little bit under 200, but you can catch a little bit of a price in the last. You can maybe score a little bit. 1,500 or 1,600 is the most you can do to the 2 and the 7.
You always want to start off a meet on a good note. Javier Castellano has done just that. He's with Maggie Wolfendale.
That's right, Frank. Spilling over from Saratoga, where he finished 2nd in the riders' standings and capturing the Christie Cat, your 3rd win in a row. Javier, you rode Tesoro last time to a 4th place finish. Was it a factor of the race just setting up in her favor today?
I think so, Maggie. I think I learned something a little bit the first time I rode the horse in Saratoga. I think I cut a little bit behind the couple horses that are supposed to not follow and get in trouble a little bit too. It was so quick a reaction, I couldn't make up my mind. I think I blame myself a little bit. I learned it through the experience a little bit. I learned it pay off today. And I roll with different way today and different confidence. I think he pay off today.
And overall, how important is that to have experience with horses?
It's a huge advantage when you had horses you never rode before and you go through to the moment. I think you learn a little bit. Sometimes you got lucky, you get along with him and pay off. But unfortunately, that day didn't pay off, but pay off today. And I think I give you all the credit to Jonathan Thomas.
I was just going to say, Jonathan Thomas, a guy you've been pairing up with to win several stakes, including the Travers. And Javier, what can you say about this young guy?
It's a great guy. I mean, he's a good horseman. He learned a lot through the experience. He rode horses. He been assistant trainer for the top trainer in the country. And I think he's one of the best sharp guys in the ground so far. You know, I think he knows what to play the horses. I think I give a lot of credit to him.
Well, Javier, a good ride as always. Owe it to Soar and the Christie Cat. Congrats.
Thanks a lot.
All right, these are two guys that have been teaming up with a lot of success here, Frank.
You're absolutely right, Maggie. Winners win. And Javier Casla, I love his post-race interviews. He's just, you know, the fact that he talks about that last race and how he learned from that experience, that's what the top people do in any profession, is you acknowledge where maybe something didn't go according to plan, and then you make the adjustment to make the difference.
I can't tell you how many times I've watched a race with Chad Brown, and Javier's been on the horse, and the horse has won. And Chad's turned to me after the race and said, I give all the credit to that win to Javier, which you'll rarely hear, and he'll say, he came to me after the last race and said, I want to do something different with this horse the next time it runs. Convinced Chad to do that. I mean, you're talking about Chad Brown, Eclipse Award-winning trainer, and Javier ended up being right. I mean, that's respect.
I always used to tell everybody, it's hard to get to the big leagues. It's harder to stay, and it's even harder for these guys to get to this level and to stay at this level, considering they're on more of a basis than I was on as a player. I had time off. They get injured, they might lose clients. I get injured, I go in the DL, and I go right back in the starting lineup. Different ball game. They got to fight for their own.
I mean, for Javier to finish second up in Saratoga is a remarkable achievement. Obviously, his new agent, John Paddock, did a great job. But Javier is a top jockey, but the Ortiz brothers are a powerful entry.
A tough entry to fight with. That's certainly the case. Let's take a look back at one of the most powerful performances. That's Diversify strolling home.
Kentucky Derby winner Orb was the leading freshman sales sire of weanlings, yearlings, and two-year-olds. On the track, his runners have scored on both dirt and turf, including stakes winners Autumn Warrior and Orvolution, stakes performer Scrapper, and TDN Rising Star Explorer. In the sales ring, his progeny continue to sell well beyond his stud fee, including the $1 million co-sale topper at Saratoga. Classic winner, classic pedigree, Orb, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Diversify broke like a rocket. And Diversify gets some daylight with a half mile to run. Oh, and he's got a 5-length lead here. Mind Your Biscuits and Discreet Lover will battle for second. Diversify has won the Whitney in style. He took it by 4 over Mind Your Biscuits. But a furlong to run. They are nose to nose, stride for stride. Abel Tasman and Mike Smith, Elaine and Jose Ortiz. Who's it gonna be? Abel Tasman determined. Elaine can't get by. Here's the wire. Oh, Abel Tasman did it. She won it by a neck. Mike Smith lets her loose and she turns it on. Marley's Freedom pouring it on as they come down to the wire. She's gonna win the ballerina, going away by 3.5 lengths. Whitmore has room at the rail and comes charging on through, and they're into the stretch. Whitmore has come through on the inside. Whitmore digs in, drifts out. It's gonna be Whitmore and Ricardo Santana Jr. to do it over City of Light, who was in a photo with Limousine Liberal, and CZ Rocket was 4th. They're off in the Sword Dancer. Glorious Empire broke very well. So Julien Leparoux slowing the tempo down here with Glorious Empire. They're in front by a length. Glorious Empire still there in the Sword Dancer. Set down for another furlong. Glorious Empire's gonna do it all the way under Julien Leparoux taking the Sword Dancer. And then it was Channel Maker second, followed by Spring Quality and High Happy. Sipacan Harbor is closing down the center of the track as well, and then it's reflected behind them. Here comes Sipacan Harbor. Sipacan Harbor, she's the real deal. She won the Spinaway.
That was a summary of the Breeders' Cup win, and you're in victors at Saratoga. Some great performances.
Absolutely, a veritable plethora of when-you're-in races at Belmont Park this fall. Diversify, to me, was one of the shining moments of the entire Saratoga meet.
Yeah, it is, because, you know, Rick Violet's been trainer here for so long in New York, and it's good to see him have a horse like Diversify. Obviously, Bob Baffert up there, but some other guys, Ron Moquette, getting Whitmore in.
Gary Contessa as well, winning, and a nice win there. An excellent job of that.
I think, too.
Excellent job of that video, by the way, by our crack staff and Ernie Munich as well.
And guess what? As you mentioned, Andy, we've got 7 of them right here. Win in your in schedule. This is the championship meet, and this is why right here.
I've got a great races to look forward to. We'll be covering September 29th. We'll be covering those races up here, Paul. Can't wait for those races in the following weekend. There's so much good racing at Belmont.
By the way, a special welcome to Pat Pope, who joins as the racing secretary here at Belmont Park. One of the sharpest minds in the industry, is now under Martin Penz's management team, and that's good news for the New York Racing Association. I've worked with him at places that fill fields rapidly. The show brought to you by the great Run Happy. I can tell you this much. When Run Happy won the Malibu Stakes to conclude his championship season, there was a get-together, and I was happy to be invited. It was a huge crowd in there. Bernie Sams of Claiborne Farm was present. And Mattress Mac, we were sitting at the table, and Mattress Mac pulled up the bottom of his left pant leg, and he showed me yellow socks. That was a pretty good indication that the other farms had a tall order if they wanted to get this boy, Run Happy. That was his first choice, and it was one of those deals where Mac had made up his mind. It was one of those things where you just want to seal the deal. Don't mess things up, and I know it's a fantastic partnership. They love everything that's happening at Claiborne, and they're getting some top-notch mares.
And I really maintain that if it hadn't been for American Pharaoh, that year the 3-year-olds would have been all about Run Happy. He was that good.
His performance in the King's Bishop was one that will be remembered for a long, long time. There's a look at Rajiv Mirage. He's going to try to get the favorite home in the finale. Monet, Mo Problems. Stay with us.
Turning for home in front. Coast of New York on the outside. California Chrome is third. Shared Belief laboring
with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Off the turn with a length and a half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Hi, Maggie.
Hi, Maggie.
Maggie. Testing.
Not hearing.
I think she's just hit the mute button on us. Welcome back to Belmont Park Live, brought to you by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. The nightcap is upon us. And we're going to go right down to talk about this interesting first-time starter with Maggie.
Can you hear anything?
I could hear her, and I'm going to talk about this first-time starter for a brief moment. His name is Atmos. He is a son of Candy Ride, making his debut out of a mare who won 2 of her 6 starts, including one of them as a juvenile. But the interesting part to me is the fact that this is a brother to the great Unified, who raced for Centennial Farms and Jimmy Jerkins.
You see this horse debuting for $20,000.
Right,
you have to
red
ask
flag,
yourself.
White,
I mean, it's
might be a white flag instead of a red flag. Right?
Red flags before the race, white flag after the race.
Either it's brilliant spotting or we got some issues.
Yeah, I mean, that's the question. I mean, you say to yourself, well, maybe it just means the horse can't run at all. How well does this horse have to run to win this race, especially if the sort of shaky favorite, Monemo Problems, doesn't show up and run? I mean, I can't leave Atmos. You got to have this horse in your pick 4s and pick 5s, right?
I used.
You never know what can happen with siblings. My brother is the ultimate ladies' man. We know what happened with me. It just happens.
It does. And listen, that having game doesn't. It travels. It's lineage, okay? All right. You not having hair, that's lineage too.
I had great hair as a youngster.
You see?
Once I started calling races, it started going quickly. 25, 26.
So you had a full head of hair. You had like a fro before you started
curly
calling
hair. I had
races?
beautiful hair as a kid.
Really?
Yeah.
You're a very handsome man now. Frank, don't sell yourself short.
I was almost the voice of Jack in the Box, but I was auditioning for the commercials, and I would not acknowledge.
You were their best customer.
I would not. No, let me tell you what happened. I would not acknowledge the lady as being my fake mom. I said that's not my mom, and I was out.
Really?
Yes.
I always loved. They had the first drive. They were the first drive-through. I think on the East Coast.
Rodney Allen Rippey can thank me because I would have given him everything he wanted in that audition.
But where is he now? And look where you are.
That's it. I'm on Belmont Park Live at this beautiful place, and thankfully we have a nice breeze to avoid the extra sweating on the set.
A lot of breeze up here.
All right.
Give me some egg rolls and a breakfast, Jack.
Oh man.
What is going on right now?
All right, let's transition over to Monemo Problems. We have a slight delay over there, but we have much to talk about. 2-1 the favorite. Monet Mo Problems, 0 for 10.
Just give up by the trainer, basically, but a horse who might just win because he's just a better horse than these, but a bit of a give up.
Very true. The 6 could crush this field, really.
All right, Causeur, number 4, getting saddled in the back. Might be the reason for this delay. We'll find out after we return from this brief timeout. Don't go away.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
How do New York breds perform? They win in world-class company. From Grade 1 races in Dubai, where New York sired, New York bred Mind Your Biscuits won the Golden Shaheen for a second time, to Belmont adding to his status as the richest New York bred with a close second in the Met Mile. The Belmont Festival saw 2 more New York breds become millionaires, 4-star Crook in the New York Stakes, and world record-setter Disco Partner with a repeat victory in the Jaipur. New York breds, get with the program.
Welcome back. You're watching Belmont Park Live as we are still having horses here in the paddock for tonight's last race. This is Maggie Wolfendale. I'm bringing you a paddock report brought to you by Hillendale Farm. And I'm going to start by talking about a horse, number 4, Causeur, who has been giving connections about the worst time I've ever seen a horse do in regards to getting a saddle on. I mean, it looks as though he was a rodeo horse more so than a thoroughbred. And luckily with the assistance of one of our outriders here, it does look as though they've got him saddled now. Now, he's a little bit interesting. I don't like this behavior whatsoever, but I did find him interesting. He does look as though, you know, he's put on some more muscle mass, having that 1-star under his belt. He'll turn back here on the main track. Jury's still out, though, if he can run at all on a track. On a fast track, though, he does have one race at Laurel, that would make him competitive here. We'll just see. I don't like this behavior whatsoever. But the first-time starters, they have behaved themselves quite nicely, and number 3 is Atmos, who is a fool to Unified, who is a very good sprinter. Didn't stay around the races that long, but a very good sprinter for trainer Jimmy Jerkins. Now, this guy, while he's a little bit shorter in stature, he's kind of got an awkward frame. He's built really downhill with a bit of a U-neck to him, and he does look fit here. And he's just, like I said, he's a little bit on the awkward side as far as his conformation is concerned. Now, number 9 will go out for Rudolph Brissett, and that's Confederation. This one is massive. He is massive and very heavy boned. But what I will say, it looks as though Rudy has him as fit as he possibly can get him. He just might be a bit on the slow side here, as we'll find out more about these runners as they are all tacked now and on the walking ring, Frank.
Thank you very much, Maggie. And Causeur, there's a look at him. We're going to look at him acting up just a touch.
Right.
Just a couple of moments ago.
Problem.
Yeah, look at this.
Whoa.
Wow.
Acrobatics.
He was doing, you know, that test they do at the NFL Combine when you got to see how high you can touch the thing? He's just telling everybody I got a little bit of hops. That's it. I don't think I've ever seen a horse jump off 2 feet like that. Have you?
0 for 8 thus far, and his last race at 1 1/8 he basically was eased.
Yeah, you'd like to think less distance will help them, and they're dropping, so the competition's a bit easier. You know, this race is really a question of whether or not Monet Mo Problem shows up with a reasonable effort. If he does, because he's primarily a turf horse, the 6, the favorite, but he's run well enough in the dirt at times that he's supposed to beat these horses. But if he doesn't, I mean, just anybody could win this race. Yeah.
Yes.
They'll probably have Mo Problems in a new barn. I mean, once you get past him, is there anybody in this race you would tell somebody not to bet on?
No.
No, but Kazur is going to, he's in timeout mode. He's going to come out last after those antics, so we're going to calm him down. There is a look right now at the favorite in the very familiar silks of Jim and Susan Hill.
I want to mention something about, oh, that's the 6. Can we go to the 1 Hot Mesa? Is the 1 Hot Mesa the kind of horse you want on a fast track? 2 good races, albeit for Rudy Rodriguez on a fast track would make him very tough. Has not had a fast track since back in April, wet tracks and turf. Maybe getting back to a fast track for the 1 Hot Mesa could help.
And I like to have horses, particularly at 7 furlongs, that have some two-turn experience, because that last 1/8 of a mile is critical. And so you have some experience there going at least a mile. Obviously, one of them is only a 2-turn event. The other one was at Aqueduct.
You've got to, I mean, if you like the Hot Mesa, you are relying on being back to a fast track. But I think that's how, in general, in handicapping, you find what we call sort of hidden horses. Horses that have legitimate excuses, you know, as opposed to saying, I bet him the jockey gave him a bad ride, he should have won. This is a horse that has not been on a fast track since April, and his first 2 races on fast tracks were buyers of 59.62, which would arguably make him the favorite here, Paul. Is that fair?
It's fair. Yeah, it's definitely fair. I mean, you can argue so many different horses in here have a race to go to that can win, but then you make the great point in that if Monet Problems runs that 1 race around 1 turn, Monet Problems has 1 race around 1 turn. This is a 7 furlong race. That race would crush this field, and the horse ran a 70 buyer and was 4 out of 14 horses. Beyond Patch. Now, whether the first-time starters can run, the horse to beat.
No, he is the horse to beat, but he's a question mark.
New member bonus of $200. The promo code is Belmont Live. It's very simple. You can bet any track, anywhere, anytime. And what people should understand is it doesn't matter where you are. You can sign up for Naira Bets. Just go to nairabets.com. Hot Mesa kicks off the post parade. We just talked about this 3-year-old moments ago.
You can make a case for this horse, especially at a big price, considering it has been a fast track for a while.
Here's the 2, Big Soul Joel for Rick Violet.
9-1, 2-back. First time this son of Kitten's Joy is going to get on the dirt.
Atmos, first-time starter, debuting in a soft spot.
He's 1-5 on pedigree, but is he a good horse?
Kazur will be here later. The 6 is Monet Mo Problems. This is almost at the point of now or never. I think 6-5 is a fair price on him. He's supposed to absolutely annihilate this group on paper.
Yeah, if you want to take the price, I'm with you. This is a Ricky Bobby horse, either first or last.
Here's the 7, Dublin Leprechaun.
Kind of redundant. Horse who has races that give him a chance to at least get a piece.
Mysterio is the 8. 6-1 for Leah Jarmati.
I tell you what, at 52-1, I get it. This horse improved big time under Leah's care, so maybe this gelding can improve a little bit more.
This is the interesting horse. Number 9, Confederation. 4 of his 5 siblings to run were winners. They earned from between $40,000 to $284,000. Interesting, right?
Who needs me? Half to Conquest Windy City, who I might be right, beat Mind Your Biscuits earlier this year.
All right, there's the 4 right now. Kazur, with those antics in the paddock certainly aren't going to help his chances this afternoon. Not saying they can't win when they do that, but when you let out too much energy, it generally takes away from the actual race performance. Here's the 1 next. Hot Mesa is coming into your screen in a moment. And, Andy, I know that at 10-1, why not?
I think you can make a case for this horse. I mean, especially if you think, well, I don't trust the firsters running for 21st time. And to me, Hot Mesa, the more I look, is the most interesting alternative.
The pick 6 will get hit today unless number 2, Big Soul Joel, or the 7, Dublin Leprechaun, land in the winner's circle. Otherwise, we're looking at a pick 6 payoff on what has been a very formful afternoon. And a lot of times, and I would not discount this over the weekend. A lot of times when you change venues, big long shots start to roll home, and it's because of several factors. A new environment, certain horses will flourish and or prosper on a track and maybe not run as well. And so you have to kind of look back into old performances to check and see which way you want to go.
Different dynamics, and Andy knows this too. The 5.5 sprint races on the turf at Saratoga, completely different. And then the dirt races, the bigger, stronger horses are going to like the sweeping turns here compared to the smaller horses are going to like the shorter turns at Saratoga. You got to know your horses, what track they like.
And don't forget at Saratoga, 7 furlongs the most we could run around 1 turn. 1.125 is the shortest we can run around 2. So around here, it's a much different for the dirt horse. And the turf courses, the configuration is so different. 1 turn versus 2 turns. Just look at competition of ideas. I know the horse was a heavy favorite, but look at how much smoother she ran today and much more easily she got into the race because she's more comfortable having that big run down the backstretch at Belmont. She can get her rhythm going. 1 turn, get right in that turn quickly. It's a much different ball game. And the idea is to find horses that are less suited up there, the trips didn't work out, where they won't be punished as much down here.
Perfect example. The last race we saw, a stakes race, the Jason Service horse. I know it's the Ed Pleasa horse, but that's a horse that's been dominating at 5, 5.5. 6 furlongs at Belmont is a different ball game.
And a yielding course.
And a yielding course. Then 5, 5.5, even at Saratoga. Different ball game. You got to be able to get every bit of that 6 furlongs, and you saw what happened today.
The wagering is going through number 6, Monet Mo Problems. Understandably, the next choice is right at his morning line. Oh, look at that. Just went from 4-1 to 5-2 in 1 click. Confederation, who was working at Keeneland before showing up at Saratoga.
5-2, 7-2. 2-1.
Yeah, it went from that was non-stop service. 4, 5-2, 2. So late money is pouring in, and you'd like to see that if you're wagering on this horse. If you have, believe it or not, you
I'd rather
feel
4-1 if I bet.
I know, but you feel better. It's that warm and fuzzy feeling where people are stepping up because this is the unknown horse.
Ryder is off the number 3. The other first are at most. Don't know if it's a situation or not.
So if you're at a crap table and somebody puts money on top of your bed, it's a warm and cozy feeling?
There's nothing warm and fuzzy about anything in that environment whatsoever. Here is a scratch.
3 Atmos.
Number 3 Atmos is out. So scratch number 3, that means there will be a consolation late daily double, so check your tickets very carefully.
Well, also important to note, you'll get the post-time favorite in the pick 4, pick 5, pick 6.
And it's no longer clear who that favorite will be.
Most likely will be Monet Mo Problems, but keep an eye on that board with the money that's coming in on Confederation, but likely to be the 6.
Right now, we got about 13,000 difference between those two. Let's go to Maggie for more.
And I just want to comment quickly on a horse that is turf to dirt here, and that is Big Soul Joel. He looks super. Of any of the horses in this field, relatively speaking, outside of Monet Mo Problems, Big Soul Joel was the next best looking horse. And I watched him warm up, and the way he moved over this dirt track suggests to me that maybe this is what he needs. Not saying he's a win candidate here, but of these, he could probably run very easily into those exotics because it just looks as though, despite having more of a turf pedigree as well, I think he'll be able to handle the main track given his competition, Frank.
Okay, so we have 2 scratches out of here. The 3 as well as the 5. Atmos, the 5 was already out earlier. Watch what happens. But they're making a little adjustment on the starting gate right now. 3 and 5 are out. 6-5 is the price for Monet Mo Problems, which everyone agrees is a horse taking that drop, just trying to get it done. One of the other things we talked about as we transition from Saratoga to Belmont, and it's true in every... At Saratoga, it's the best of the best. And so when you come over here to Belmont Park, there are going to be certain horses that just, for example, maybe just didn't fit over at Saratoga. A good example of that would be number 9, Confederation. There wasn't a race that was for him in that spot. He was up there working, and now he's down here in a maiden 20.
Okay, you got to take the 9 with a grain of salt, because I'll tell you why. I don't care what's going on. This horse was bred by Windstar, but this horse is owned by Windstar and China Horse Club. Okay, now the China Horse Club, the owners of China...
And SF Racing as well, George Soros'
the people that own that race club are recession-proof. So $20,000 for this horse giving him away is fine. So they're probably telling you on the board that maybe, hey, this horse is just going to win. We'll give him away for $20,000.
I'm thinking that China Horse Club got in for a little more than 20. What do you think?
I'm saying that, but my point to them is like they're at a point where they probably told, hey, listen, let's cut our losses. We probably don't have anything here. This is a $20,000 horse, and the horse is getting bet. Let's win with the horse.
The single most important thing is how this horse is getting bet.
Late and then hard. I mean, that was 4 down to 5-2 down to 2. That's a significant
what I'm trying to get at, it'd be a bigger concern if this was a drop for somebody that didn't really have the money. This is a drop for people that really are okay right now, and the $20,000 and the win it's not going to change their lives.
The loading process in motion here at Belmont Park. We close out opening day's program with this maiden $20,000 claiming event. Andy, any final thoughts?
The money just says the 9's supposed to show up. The 6 Monemo Problem still the worst to beat, and I'm going to try to get Hot Mesa in there somewhere.
Paul?
I'm going to try to get the 4 in there, but I'm in agreement with Andy. The 6 is going to be tough in here unless this 9's a runner.
Remember, the 3 was a late scratch, so if you had number 3, you're going to get the post-time favorite, and it's close between the 6 and 9, but it looks $10,000 more on number 6, Monemo Problems, with just a couple left to load. Here's the voice of pretty much everything these days, Larry Comas.
And the last one to come up is Confederation up to the outside stall. Goes in, and they're all in line. They're off. Kozer broke well, so too Big Soul Joel. These two out to the front together. Monemo Problems away running in third. Hot Mesa's fourth on the inside. Confederation a bit slow to get going, but catching up now 5 lengths from the front. At the back are Dublin Leprechaun and Mysterio heading up the backstretch. Monemo Problems up to grab the lead now from Kozer and open up a length and a half. Big Soul Joel is third, Hot Mesa fourth, Confederation fifth, and racing 5 from the front. Then Dublin Leprechaun and Mysterio. 23:02 that first quarter mile for Monemo Problems, who's got a 2-length lead on the far turn. From Big Soul Joel, Kozer, and a 3-wide Hot Mesa. It's 4 lengths more back to Confederation, who's now losing ground on the turn. Dublin Leprechaun is next, and at the back of the pack is Mysterio. So the one to beat here is Monemo Problems, who ran a 45.72 half. Opens up 3 as they come to the top of the stretch. Big Soul Joel is second, Hot Mesa to the outside. Third, Kozer cuts the corner in fourth. The others are well behind, and they're into the stretch. And Rajiv Mirage and Monemo Problems are trying to hold on here. Big Soul Joel is closing on the outside under Manny Franco. Big Soul Joel ranging up alongside of Monemo Problems, who battles on from the inside. The two of them down to the line together. Big Soul Joel over Monemo Problems, then Hot Mesa and Kozer.
9 ran well.
Big Soul Joel wears down Monemo Problems, 2-6-1-4. A photo for the win, but Big Soul Joel just gradually got him and took care of him right when it counted at odds of 13-1.
A huge turf pedigree, couldn't run on the turf, switched the dirt, won the race, pick 6 carryover.
The 2 best horses on turf, Andy, that were dropping ran 1-2. One was 13 and 165. I know it's hindsight, but the 2 had okay races, but they were both dropping, in price.
And the mystery will forever be, what was the story on Confederation, who can't get out of the gate, bore out at the start, and finish last?
Well, at that time, maybe he was the 4-1 second choice. Some big bets come in against the favorite Monemo Problems.
There had to be a story that turned out to be not true.
Here's the story. Maggie Wolfendale was talking about Big Soul Joel in the late stages of wagering, and we have a pick 6 carryover on a day where it was really very, very formful. Big Soul Joel, Monemo Problems, I mean, with that trip, that was a soft trip, but he got caught fair and square by the longest shot in the field. So that is how it will close up today. Kitten's Joy, the stallion. He's part of the Hillendale roster. We're going to take a timeout, come back with all the prices and much more, as Big Soul Joel is going to pay at least $28 in just a moment.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Big Soul Joel graduates in career start number 5, his first on the main track, and he wears down Mo Problems, Manny Franco, with a triple on the afternoon.
Congratulations to the son of Kit Joy of elusive quality mare Fanfare. And Manny Franco, like you said, gets the job done. 1 for 5 lifetime. Don't forget, there's a late scratch, so check your consolation pick 3s and doubles. The pick 4, 208, we were able to get that home. The pick 5, it just shows you a 6 to 5 shot won, and you get 1,500. And of course, I just played the pick 4.
And you did give out the pick 4 to our fans, so it's always nice when you help the fans. Nice job on the winning pick 4, Paul LaDuca. Pick 6 carryover over 22,000 into tomorrow. And look at these prices, Andy.
We talk about this all the time. You've got 3 heavy favorites hovering around even money. You've got a third choice, 1180, but a third choice, and a bomb. And we talk about this all the time. It doesn't matter if you get 2 favorites home, 2 big favorites. 3 big favorites, 1,500, 1 tough horse. Now, I couldn't add that horse. You were smart, you did. But it doesn't matter. All you got to do is be smart once to make a score.
Saturday's races 5 through 10 for the pick 6 carryover tomorrow. And before that pick 6 carryover, we're going to run the Allied Forces in race number 4, which would be the male version of what we had today in the Christie Cat. A very interesting race.
Excellent
World of
race.
Trouble with Manny Franco coming off that very big win in the quick call in his turf debut. Guido returning to the turf.
Who will be favored?
They took a shot with Guido on the main track last time out. It did not work out. He's back to his favorite surface and distance. This is the time for him to give you everything he has.
Excellent race.
At 6 furlongs.
Sorry you won't be here, Frank.
Our next show will be tomorrow, 4 to 6 p.m. Check your local listings. Tesora wins the Christie Cat. Javier Castellano aboard for Jonathan Thomas. It's been a pleasure hanging out. For Paul LaDuca, Andy Serling, Maggie Wolfendale, and the entire team, I'm Frank Miramati. Good night.